Hi again, and welcome to another fretless video. First of all, I want to take the time to thank you all for all the nice comments and thumbs up for the last couple of videos on the fretless bass. On the last video about getting the growl and the mwah, I had recorded a little section about setup, how to best set up the instrument to get this kind of mwah sound that we're often looking for. During editing, I figured that the video was too long and I'd better just leave that part out. And today I thought maybe I'll just release another video with just that. So that's what I'm going to do now. Leading up to the setup, I was talking about sustain, how it's important to have an instrument with good sustain to get a good mwah or growl. Which I've been pointed out that it's not the same thing, and that's my mistake. But I've seen the terms being used loosely online, so that's my excuse. These setup tips are valid also for fretted instruments, obviously, and not just the fretless. But there are a couple of things that talk more direct to the fretless bass. So without further ado, here's what I recorded about the setup. Hope you enjoy it. To get this kind of sustain, you need to have the instrument set up properly. I suggest, if you're not comfortable with experimenting on your instrument, find a reputable luthier that can help you. But it's not that difficult actually, the day-to-day adjustments. And if you live in an area with climate changes like I do, Norway has quite a large difference between warm summers and icy cold and dry winters. So I will be in and out of the shop every week if I couldn't adjust things myself. To adjust stuff, you're going to need a set of tools like these umbracos, we call it. You call it Allen wrenches in America, I think. And some of these neck fingerboard measuring things, I'm not sure what they're called. They're like T-shaped, and they come in with different radiuses. I'll get back to why you need that in a little bit. I bought this Groove Tools bass thing, adjustment set. It's got a screwdriver with 4 different heads. It's got a metal ruler to measure distance between fingerboard and strings and pickup height and such. It has a kind of capo and a bunch of these Allen wrenches. Yeah, it has different tools that you can need to adjust your bass. So you want to have a neck that is quite straight, but it isn't completely straight because you need to have a little bit of room for the string to vibrate. So the way you can measure this is press down in the first fret and then press down towards the upper end of the neck, like the 17th fret or so. And then there should be a little bit of distance. I mean, it shouldn't be more than a fraction of a millimeter, really, but it should be there. The string should not be lying flat on the fingerboard. You should be able to move it into the fingerboard. And if it's too far off, if it's like a millimeter between or more, then you need to tighten the truss rod. And the truss rod adjustment is either here, it's not here on this bass, or up here, which is that's where it is here. So you would find the Allen wrench that fit, and to tighten is a normal way. You look into the screw, you look into the rod, and you tighten it by going clockwise, and you loosen it by going anti-clockwise, and just do like, I mean, a quarter turn or less at a time. And then you have to let it sit for a little while. Like, I mean, 10 minutes is probably enough. But, you know, it's wood, it travels, it contracts, it expands. So you can't really just turn it like a quarter and know exactly how it's going to be. You have to turn it and then play it for a while and see, yeah, I can still need to do some more, or that was too much, need to go back. So then it's important to have the string height set properly and to follow the curve of the fingerboard, and that's where these little guys come in. you have to find one that matches your fingerboard. So the way you do it is you put it under the strings, onto the fingerboard like that. I don't know if you can see it. And then you have to find the one that doesn't wiggle. In the kit, there is a 9.5 radius and a 725. I have concluded that this jazz bass is somewhere in between, so it's probably an 8 or an 8.5, because a 725, that's for an older jazz bass. It's a very round fingerboard, very rounded, and the 9.5 is closer, but it's a little bit too flat for this fingerboard. This fingerboard is a little bit rounder than a 9.5, but I'm using the 9.5, and the way I'm using it is I'm setting my outer string heights, the G and the E string, to where I want them to get a good balance between this fingerboard buzz, the mwah, and that I can actually play them with dynamics. I can play them soft, I can play them hard, and they don't fret out or fretless out on me. And then I use this, I put it on the strings all the way behind, all the way back towards the bridge, and I can hear it's dampening the G and E string. I've set mine correctly now, so it's dampening the A and D also equally. If you don't have them set equally, then you will be able to dampen maybe the outer strings, and the mid strings will still vibrate without any dampening. Then you have to heighten them until they start hitting this thing, and you can dampen them. When you have all four sounding the same amount of muted, then you have the correct curvature of the string height compared to your fingerboard radius. That's important, so you don't get more or less fretless buzz on one string compared to the other. And then pickup height, there are different theories. You don't want them too close, you don't want them too far away. If you're too close, you can get some kind of a double ringing sound because the magnetic field, and it grabs the string somewhat and can dampen its vibrations or something. So just, you can Google it. I'm not really sure about the measurement, but I've set mine according to what I Googled once, and I think it works well.